Good morning, Delta students. Today, inshallah, we will study the last lesson in this syllabus, which is hormones in human body. We learned before that nervous system organizes and coordinates both the activities and functions of the organs of living organism. But scientists, through their experiments and researches, proved that there is another form of organizing and coordinating of these activities and functions. This form of is performed by chemical substances secreted by special cells in the body. These secretions are known as hormones. So, what's meant by hormone? Hormone is a chemical substance or a chemical message that controls and organizes most of the vital activities and functions in the bodies of living organisms. Hormones are secreted in the body by some organs called endocrine or ductless glands. So what's meant by endocrine glands? They are ductless glands that secretes their hormones directly in the blood without passing through ducts. Blood is considered the only way for the hormones which are secreted by endocrine organs or endocrine glands to reach their sites of action or target cells. Because the cells, which are known as the target cells that the hormones affect, are almost located away from the endocrine glands that secretes the hormone. So we need the blood to transfer these messages. What's meant by target cells? They are the cells that hormones affect, and they are almost located away from the endocrine gland that secrete the hormone. In our body, there are a number of endocrine glands. We will study in this lesson the most important endocrine glands in the human body, which are number one, the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, two adrenal glands, pancreas gland, and reproductive gland, which include in male the two testis glands and in female the two ovaries glands. In the picture here, we can see the endocrine glands in both male and female of human. Endocrine gland secretes more than 50 hormones in human body in limited quantities. Once the occurrence of a disorder in the action of one of these endocrine glands, this affect the percentage of its secretion by increasing or decreasing than the normal level, causing disease symptoms, which is known as hormone disorder. So, hormone disorder is the increase or decrease in the secretion of one of the hormones when the endocrine gland that secretes it doesn't act properly. Let's start with the first endocrine gland, which is pituitary gland. It is a small gland in the side of the pea seed, and it consists of two lobes. It's located below the brain, and it secretes hormone that regulate and activate the most of other endocrine glands, so it's called the master gland or the main gland. And each lobe of the two lobes of the pituitary gland secretes a group of different hormones. This diagram illustrates a group of hormones that the pituitary gland secretes, such as growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, adrenal gland activating hormone, mammary glands activating hormone to secrete milk during the breastfeeding process, and sexual glands activating hormones to testes and two ovaries that regulates the growth and the development of sex organs, and also hormone regulating amount of water in the body and hormone facilitating during delivery. Let's study the growth hormone as an example of the hormones that is secreted by pituitary gland. Its importance that it controls the speed of growth rate of body muscles, bones, and other organs. So it determines the height that the person will reach when he becomes a fully grown. But there are some disorders or some diseases result from the growth hormone disorder in the human body, such as dwarfism and gigantism. Dwarfism, it's reason that is there the decrease in the secretion of the growth hormone at the childhood, and the feature of disorder there, the body stops growing, so the person becomes a dwarf. As we can see it in the picture, this person is a dwarf, okay? And the second disorder is gigantism, and its reason is increase in the secretion of the growth hormone at the childhood, and the feature of disorder is a continuous growth in the labs, bones, so the person becomes giant. As we can see here, this person is very giant. If we can compare between to this person, the dwarf and the giant person, we can see the difference between dwarfism and gigantism. The second gland in the endocrine system is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, it consists of two lobes linked together by a small point, and it's located in the front surface of the neck on both sides of the trachea. As we can see here in this neck, this red point is a reddish point is the thyroid gland, and it secretes two main hormones, which are thyroxine hormone and calcitonin hormone. Thyroxine hormone plays the main role in the food assimilation processes in the body, where it liberates the energy necessary for the human body from food, and calcitonin hormone, it controls the level of calcium in the blood. And the food must contain iodine element, because iodine enter in the structure of thyroxine hormone, which play a main role in food assimilation processes in our body. There are some diseases resulted from the thyroxine hormone disorder in the human body. Once occurrence of a disorder in the secretion of thyroxine hormone from the thyroid gland, this will lead to the goiter disease, which has two shapes as follows. We have two shapes of goiter. The first one is simple goiter, and the second one is exophthalmic goiter. The simple goiter, its reason is decrease in the secretion of the thyroxine hormone due to the lack of iodine element from food, and it enters in the hormones structure, in this hormone structure, in the thyroxine hormone structure. And the simple goiter, its symptoms as enlargement of thyroid gland and the neck. And exophthalmic goiter, its reason as increase in the secretion of the thyroxine hormone in large amounts. The symptoms of exophthalmic goiter is enlargement of thyroid gland accompanied by loss of weight, tension, and exophthalmosis. So what will happen with the deficiency of thyroxine hormone secretion? It will the human will suffer from a simple goiter. Okay, that's for the thyroid gland. So let's start to another endocrine gland, which are the two adrenal glands. They are very important glands, and they locate adhering to the top of the kidney, and they secrete adrenaline hormone. Adrenaline hormone, it stimulates the body organs to respond to emergency situations or emergencies such as fear, anger, emotion, and so on. These emergencies stimulate the two adrenal glands to secrete adrenaline hormone. So what happened to the person when he is exposed to a fear or horror or anger or emotion? First of all, the pituitary gland responds by the secretion of adrenal gland activating hormone. As we mentioned before, the pituitary gland is the master or the main gland, because it secretes hormones that stimulate another glands. So these adrenal glands secrete adrenaline hormone, which stimulates body organs to respond to these emergency situations. Now let's talk about the pancreas gland, which is the fourth type of endocrine glands in our body. Pancreas is located between the stomach and the small intestine, and it secretes two hormones, which are insulin hormone and glucagon hormone. Pay attention. Insulin hormone, its importance as reduces the level of glucose sugar in the blood, reduces, mean decrease the glucose level glucose sugar level in the blood, and that occurs by stimulating the body cells to use glucose as a source of energy, and also liver cells to store excess glucose sugar in the body in the form of glycogen. And for glucagon hormone antagonizes the action of insulin hormone. So glucagon hormone, its importance as to raise up or to increase the level of glucose sugar in the blood, and that's occurred by stimulating the liver cells to convert the stored glycogen in the liver into a glucose sugar that released into the bloodstream to be available for the body cells. So what happened when the level of glucose sugar in the blood increases than the normal level? When the glucose increased, so we need to decrease it again. So the pancreas gland will respond by secreting insulin hormone, and when the opposite case occurs, means when the level of glucose sugar in the blood decreases than the normal level, the body of the human tend to increase this glucose level. So the pancreas gland will respond by secreting glucagon hormone. So from the previous, we can conclude that the action of glucagon hormone antagonizes the action of insulin hormone. Pancreas is considered a mixed gland. Why? Why the pancreas is considered a mixed gland? That's because the pancreas acts as a ductless gland which secretes the insulin and glucagon hormone directly to the blood. That regulates the glucose sugar level in the blood. And also, it acts as a duct gland, which secretes digestive juices to the pancreatic duct that help in the digestion process. So it is a mixed gland because it acts as the duct gland and also acts as ductless gland. And the pancreas also is considered a double function gland because the pancreas, as we mentioned before, secretes the insulin hormone and glucagon hormone, and the function of each hormone contracts the function of the other. So pancreas is a double function gland. There are some hormone disorders occur when a disorder happens or occur to the secretion of insulin hormone in the body. One, the occurrence of a disorder in the secretion of insulin hormone from the pancreas gland, this will lead to the infection with the diabetes disease. What is diabetes? It is a disease caused by the decrease in the secretion of insulin hormone, which leads to increasing of the level of glucose sugar in the blood and its existence in the urine, existence of glucose sugar in the urine. The reason of diabetes is decrease, as we mentioned before, in the secretion of insulin hormone, which leads to the cells are unable to use glucose, and its symptoms is feeling thirsty and multiple urination times. And the device shown in this picture is used to measure immediately the concentration of glucose sugar in the blood to determine the diabetes patients and to give the suitable treatment for them. The last type of endocrine glands in our body is reproductive glands, and the reproductive glands are different from males and females. As in males, we have the two testis glands. They present in males and they secrete testosterone hormone. Testosterone hormone is responsible for the appearance of the male secondary sex characters, and that for males, and the two ovaries glands in female, which secrete two hormones, which are estrogen hormone and progesterone hormone. Estrogen hormone, it is responsible for the appearance of the female secondary sex characters. Its function is very important in the female body, and the other hormone, which is secreted by the two ovaries glands as progesterone hormone. And the progesterone hormone promotes the growth of the endometrium. Endometrium mean the lining of the uterus. Science, technology, and society. Pituitary gland in the body of dwarf person. As we mentioned before, we have a case, a disordered case, result from the decrease in the secretion of growth hormone, which is dwarfism. So the body of a dwarf person secretes extremely small amounts of growth hormone, as we mentioned before. In the past, scientists treated these people by injecting them with human growth hormone that is extracted from the recently dead corpses of the children's bodies. But this amount of growth hormone obtained by this method were extremely not enough. In addition to the non-ability of containing some microbes which may cause an infection, so it was not the best way to extract the growth hormone. And in 1979, and by the genetic engineering technology, scientists manufactured sufficient amounts of human growth hormone by inserting a human gene that carries instructions for information of human growth hormone into the DNA nucleic acid of a bacterial cell. In this way, they were able to produce and collect large amounts of a human growth hormone by great numbers of bacteria in which this gene was inserted. Then this hormone was refined and tasted to be used. In 1985, the researchers conducted on this hormone proved its validity for the human use to treat the children of the limited growth. And the following figure shows the steps of synthesize the growth hormone by genetic engineering. As we can see here in step one, we can separate the DNA from the bacterial cell. In step two, we can separating the human gene carries instructions for information of human growing hormone. Step three, we can insert the human gene into the bacterial DNA, and that's what we need. We can put a part of the gene from the human on a DNA bacterial, which is extracted from the bacteria, and make a DNA called recombinant DNA. And in the step four, we can put this modified DNA again inside the bacterial cell. We can introduce the DNA as here in step four, we can introduce the DNA which carry the gene into a bacterial cell again. And after that, a multiplication of growth hormone through the multiplication of bacterial cell. And the last step is separation and purification of the growth hormone to be used again to treat the person who needs this growth hormone, such as dwarf person. That's for today, and thank you.